Welcome, all classmates and teachers. My name is Roger Morpha, and today's date is April 4th, 2025. Just to share a little bit about myself, I am a student at the State School of Maryland located in Baltimore City. I am in the 12th grade. I'm originally from Cameroon, a country in West/Central Africa. I moved to the United States about 10 years ago with my family, and currently I am preparing myself to go to college where I will also pursue my dreams. Without further ado, let's get into it. In this video presentation, I am going to be talking about an amazing black woman who made history. Her name is Josephine Baker. Josephine was born into a tough life. Regardless of her situation, Josephine persisted and chased her dreams. She became a famous performer and also did a lot of important and amazing work that aided in the fight against racism, discrimination, and segregation throughout Europe and the United States. Josephine wasn't just a dancer. She was also a singer, actress, and a mentor to many. She even helped during World War II. She broke a lot of barriers, especially those that held Black African Americans and women from reaching their full potential. She also showed the world that anyone could succeed no matter where they came from or who they were perceived as. I'm going to share with you some of Josephine's biggest achievements, the challenges she faced, how she overcame them, and her legacy, and how it still affects us to this day. Let's jump into it. I hope you learned and you enjoyed the presentation. Introduction. Josephine was known as a famous performer, dancer, singer, and activist. She was also known for breaking racial barriers in entertainment. She was a major civil rights activist who worked for equality. She also inspired generations of artists and activists, and her legacy continues today. A little bit of background information. Her full name is Josephine McDonald. Most people know her as Josephine Baker. Her birthday is June 3rd, 1906, and she was born in St. Louis, Missouri, the Deep South, and she later died April 12th, 1975, in Paris, France. Upbringing. Josephine was born into poverty, and early on in her life, her father had left her family when she was young, leaving her with her siblings and her mother. Her mother's name was Carrie McDonald, and her mother was a washerwoman. While young, Josephine faced racial discrimination in the South. America's Jim Crow laws were at its full effect at the time. She also started working at an early age to help support her mother and to bring food on the table, while also helping her mother complete other daily tasks in her family. Josephine grew up in a time of racial segregation in America. She experienced poverty, hardship, but she developed her love for performing. Later on in her life, Josephine moved to New York at the age of 19, where she joined the Harlem Renaissance. For those of you who might not know, the Harlem Renaissance was a cultural movement that celebrated African American art, music, literature, and intelligence. It was here that Josephine's career in dancing and performing began to take off. As her career took off, Josephine faced a lot of discrimination in a field which was mainly dominated by white individuals. Due to this fact, Josephine decided that she was going to move to Paris in the late 1920s. In Paris, she found more acceptance and freedom in her artistic expression. She became a star at the Folies Bergère, a famous Parisian cabaret. But Josephine had a lot of breakthroughs in entertainment. Josephine became famous in France for her exotic dancing and unique performance, including her famous banana dance, where she danced while she was wearing a skirt made of bananas. She was also the first African American woman to star in a major movie in France called Zouzou, a 1934 movie which was released. Josephine was also known for her charisma, powerful stage presence, and dancing skills. She became a famous fashion icon, and she was known for her daring and stylish looks. Josephine paved the way for future African Americans to perform in Europe and the U.S. to gain international recognition. Josephine was not only a performer but also an outspoken artist. In the late 1950s, she became involved in the U.S. Civil Rights Movement. She worked alongside leaders like Martin Luther King, and she was also a part of the March to Washington in 1963. Josephine refused to perform for a segregated audience in the U.S., and she was very vocal about racial injustice. Josephine was also a part of World War II. Josephine used her fame to help the French resistance fight against the Nazi occupation. She worked as a spy for the French government, traveling around Europe to gather secret information. She would hide messages in her songs and performances, and those messages were passed along to the resistance. In return for her bravery, Josephine received numerous awards, including the Croix de Guerre. Josephine was also a pioneer of African American entertainment. Josephine was the first African American woman to perform at the prestigious Radio City Music Hall Festival in New York City. Her success in Europe made her a symbol of racial progress and breaking barriers in a highly segregated world. Josephine decided that she wanted to show the world that all things were possible. She wanted to do this by adopting children, and which she did. Josephine adopted 12 children from different ethnic backgrounds, calling them the Rainbow Tribe. She wanted to show the world that children of different races could live together in harmony, providing an example of racial unity to the world. Challenges faced. Even though Josephine was famous, she faced a lot of challenges in the United States, and one of those was her limited career opportunities. In Paris, she found greater acceptance, but she also faced prejudice as an African American woman in a predominantly white entertainment industry. She couldn't perform in many U.S. venues due to the segregation laws, which pushed her to focus more on her career in Europe. Josephine had a lot of personal struggles, and in her early life, it was marked by poverty and instability. As an adult, she also faced financial difficulties. Despite her fame, Josephine faced bankruptcy multiple times later in life. She also struggled with managing her money. She also faced emotional challenges after adopting her children, including the loss of some of them and the financial instability. As a woman of color, she had to constantly prove herself in an industry that was dominated by white performers. She was often subjugated to stereotypes and racist expectations, but pushed through, proving her worth. Josephine had many ways to overcome her challenges. One way she overcame discrimination in the U.S. was by moving to France, where she became a national treasure and a symbol of breaking down racial barriers in the entertainment field. Josephine refused to perform in segregated audiences in the United States. This act of defiance helped push the idea of racial equality in the entertainment industry. Josephine used her fame for advocacy. Her platform allowed her to fight for civil rights and racial justice both in the U.S. and Europe. She raised funds and supported the civil rights movement, speaking out against Jim Crow laws and segregation. Josephine has a long-lasting impact. Josephine Baker was a trailblazer for African American entertainers in both Europe and America. Her success helped pave the way for future African American artists like Lena Horne, Harry Belafonte, and others. Josephine's activism was a major part of the civil rights movement in the United States. She participated in marches and rallies and helping bring attention to issues like racial segregation and discrimination. Her refusal to perform for segregated audiences was a statement against racial injustice. She became a global symbol of resistance and resilience against oppression. Today, Josephine Baker's impact is celebrated in both the art and social justice movements. Josephine's legacies today. Josephine's courage and talent have inspired generations of African American artists and performers. Her story shows that using art as a tool. Her story shows the power of using art as a tool for activism. Josephine Baker's work in civil rights movement continues to inspire those who fight against racial injustice today. She remains a symbol of the fight for equality, breaking barriers in entertainment. Many awards, schools, and institutions have been named in her honor, continuing her legacy as a pioneer of racial equality and cultural impact. What I learned from Josephine Baker. Josephine has taught me that as long as you're resilient and you fight for what's right, even in the face of adversity, you will get what you want in life. Her life is a reminder that no matter where you start, you can achieve greatness if you stay determined and use your platform for good. Her story is still relevant today as we continue to work towards racial equality and social justice, especially in today's world. Josephine's activism and art reminds us the power of using our voices to make changes in society. Josephine Baker's story is a powerful example of how one person can change the world's view on everything. She didn't just entertain the world with her amazing talent. She also fought for equality, broke barriers, shared her story, and inspired generations to come. Thank you for listening to her story and her incredible journey today. I hope her story inspires you as much as it inspires me. Don't forget, it doesn't matter where you came from, but it matters where you're going. Thank you so much. I hope you have a good rest of your day.